Well, hello YouTube channel, it's Belmont here. And what you see before you is the little DIY project I started off with just a long scrap of material a month ago. And what I have completed is, well, something very similar to Mad Bob's little pouch or discounted Sparrow's pouches. And yeah, this comes from a few hours of hard work and hand stitching and 4 Velcro tabs, the hook and loop fasteners as I've been informed by the packaging, and some hand stitching. And granted, I know it's not perfect. It looks a little sloppy, but it's for function and form, not fashion. And I'll tell you this, I don't have the stronger material to cut and make this nice and neat as I informed Taku last night. Yes, Taku of Mayhem Keys got the first glimpse at this DIY pouch. And I'm gonna be honest, it took a few hours. You know, if anyone has ever used the materials from Dollar Tree, like these little Velcro tabs, hook and loop fasteners from Tool Bench. They're self-adhesive, and you can see the size of the squares. It actually says not recommended for use on fabrics or flexible vinyl. Continued exposure to sunlight will weaken adhesive. Not recommended for underwater use. Fasteners may leave marks on painted surfaces when removed. So that's why I stitched them on. And I hand stitched. And it's not the greatest job in the world done on them, but it gets the job done. As many of you recall from a month earlier, this was nothing more than a long piece of scrap material that was discarded on the road, and it was raining when I found it. It was muddy, it was dirty, and I cleaned this up. Upon looking at the material and the threading, I decided on using the red thread to accent the Velcro tabs, and using the same color red thread to hand stitch this together. And this material, while not hard to penetrate with a needle, I did use a thimble. And a lot of lock sport YouTubers are gonna think, oh, you know what? Why doesn't he have a sewing machine? And the answer is simple. I live in a motel room. And right there On the floor is some gift locks that are wiser, and a few, well, I did see one large deadbolt quickset in there. And as soon as I clean those up, I am going to show them on the channel. And those were actually given to me yesterday. I asked the owner of the motel here if they had any locks they lost the keys to or anything like that. They changed out, and it was pouring down hard, raining yesterday, and it was a great day to be a duck. And well, he knocked on my door and said, "Hey, I got these locks here for you. See what you can do with them." And I said, "Thanks." I shook his hand, and he went about his business. But I also will say on another note that I also talked to my surrounding stores, businesses, and asked them if they had any discarded locks, lost the keys to, things like that. And my local grocery store, Giant Eagle, I talked with the manager. He is sorting through the drawers in the offices and pulling together what locks that don't have keys. He's very nice about it. So if there are other channels out there, I don't care if you're new to the community. I don't care if you're old school, as old as Bosnian Bills, or even Lockpicking Lawyer. It's not too much if you can't really afford to buy new locks online or even through a thrift store that's not even close by to you. Ask your local community. It took me maybe an hour total from walking from my motel to the store and 6 surrounding businesses that didn't appear to be too busy, and that included 2 garages that were muffler repair shop, a Midas, and a I can't remember the other one, but they seem to be side by side almost, and that included 2 restaurants, 1 funeral parlor, the Dollar Tree, and of course the Giant Eagle. The funeral parlor was the most interesting one because it was drizzling, and I've walked by it at least a good dozen times now and thought to myself, you know what, Belmont? Go ask. And I walk up there, and this beautiful Buick pulls up, and guy gets out of the car, and I ask him if he's the proprietor. Introduce myself as an apprentice locksmith, which it would be at least a truthful and honest title, because I am an apprentice. I am a learner. And I'm not licensed to be a locksmith, not yet. I don't have a car. I'm not mobile. But you can learn as much as you want, even if you have no money. But the gentleman was nice. He'd said, "You're about 3 months too late. We just had all of our locks rekeyed and redone." So, hey, that was interesting. If I had looked around the businesses when I first arrived here back in January, I probably could have gotten a shitload of locks. But go figure, I was dealing with a lot of depression and trying to make these little small YouTube videos to this therapy for myself and get some information out there and pass the time. And if you're hand stitching, the glue on these Velcro tabs, they don't make the needle as sticky, but I used a fairly large gauge needle to work the thread and get the material to work with me. And it took a while, but I am always very careful. This is my first DIY project of making a pouch, and it did take a while, but I tried to keep it as close to as what a Mad Bob's inspired design looked like. And I measured out some basic marks on the material before I started a month ago to make sure that, well, I could fit my Sparrows, top of the keyway tension wrenchers, the comb bar picks, and the goat wrench could all fit in here, and to close the tab down over it. And just turn it upside down and shake it, and you don't hear any rattling. And you know what? This probably could be tighter, but if I wanted to, I could probably fit a few more little small items in there, but I'm not going to at the moment. These were put into my Southward set, my MPX S20, and they were sitting in there because, well, where I ended up putting them because they had the most excess of space. But I also started this project as a way to prove to myself that I could make a heavy-duty pouch. And yeah, this material is really heavy-duty. This is thicker than the material that Mad Bob's actually uses on his little pouches. And when I first got this piece of material, found it on the ground, it looked shitty. It looked dirty. It looked messy. And I didn't have a washing machine. I didn't have a dryer. I had a bathroom sink, and a heater to dry things out with, and hand towels. And for some hand stitching that took a few hours to do, while sitting up, while having appreciable strain on your back, I feel like I did a pretty damn good job with this. It's not perfect, and I'm pretty sure if I had I'm not even gonna say a commercial sewing machine, but a good old-fashioned sewing machine that does industrial work, or even just house stuff for the house, I'm pretty sure, with a Singer sewing machine, I probably could have snapped this out in, well, maybe half an hour. Half an hour tops. But I have not used a regular sewing machine in, 3 decades. I learned back when I was 9. And my significant other, for the love of her, when her mother and stepfather brought all their excess shit to store at our house, they brought a Singer sewing machine, the one you plug in, and had the electric pedal. And this machine sat in our basement on a shelf in the laundry room for the longest time. It never saw any use, not by me nor her, because I've honestly forgotten how to use a big sewing machine. I've been so used to hand stitching that its knowledge and skill have faded from me for the most part. And I'll tell you something else. In an aspect of survival, having nothing more than a dollar store or a Dollar General brand sewing kit and some thread from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, or even Walmart, that's a large bundle of 10, 12 or whatever, it may be cheap in cost, but it gets the job done. And I'm actually impressed with myself as both a lock sporter and a hobbyist, that I was able to pull this together. Now granted, this, I'm technically going to call this Belmont Pouch version 1.0 copy Mad Bob. But this is nothing anyone else couldn't also pull off and do themselves. I'm sure you probably have better resources than I do, but if you ever wanted to make a pouch for yourself, to put some of your tension wrenches in, I'm pretty sure you could also figure out how to do the exact same thing, even with basic measurements, marking where you want to make the fold, the Velcro tabs, and sewing them in place. I'm pretty sure you could do the exact same thing, maybe a little bit better. But granted, this looks a little sloppy. And that's okay. It's about function and its form, not, doesn't have to look like Sparrows, it doesn't have to look like a Gucci name or anything like that. Anyone can do this. You can find the materials even if you're just looking on the side of the road. You never know what you can really find. And if you're bored, you have the free time, you can put this together. This exact same thing. And we are past the 20-minute mark. And I would like to address one particular subscriber or slash commenter, a user by the name of Tad, who suggested I use something called Zeus. I'm not going to pay money I don't have to a company to help me gain subscribers. I'm not going to be the type who does giveaways. I'm not going to buy a bunch of shit like other Lockpicks and buy my subscribers with giveaways. That's disgusting. It shows no morals. And it says you really don't have the confidence to get subscribers on your own steam through hard work. Yeah, anyone can be bought, as the saying goes. But I didn't know anything about social media or YouTube back in the day. You know, I show you my product. I show you the products I have. I show off my tools that I receive from Taku. I talk about various tools. I show off my locks. And I dispense opinions and some pearls of wisdom and facts. And I'm proud that I have integrity and the morals that I don't have to buy my subscribers. You who are subscribed to me, you're here because you want to be here. You're not bought. You're not being given shit. You're here because obviously you like what I have to say, despite the everyone should hate Raymond Belmont bandwagon that is being promoted through the subsets of a subset of the lock sport community. That, oh, if you want to be accepted, well, you have to hate Raymond Belmont. And that's just a bunch of bullshit. But we're coming up on the 25-minute mark. I hope you've enjoyed this. And I will be cleaning up my locks later on today, and they will be featured on our next video. So stick around.